What is death? The end or the beginning? Why do we have the burial ritual? And why do we put our loved ones in a place we call a cemetery? Is this a modern phenomenon? Or did our ancestors also have some sort of burial ritual? In order to answer all these questions, we will travel far back in time, almost 6,000 years. This is a period which is commonly known as Tazebuj, and we will visit a site which is called the Ħal Saflieni Hypogeum, which is situated in Paula. The Hypogeum is built on 3 layers or levels: the top level, which is the first level, the middle one, which is the second level, and the one at the bottom, which is the third level. The first level is the oldest, and it is estimated to be around 5,600 years old. Over time, they began cutting more stone and digging deeper, forming what we call today the middle level, which is around 5,000 years old. Bit by bit, they dug even deeper, reaching the lowest level, which is estimated to be around 4,500 years old. The lowest area of the Hypogeum is 33 feet deep, or 10.6 meters underground. Join me to discover this mysterious world known as the Ħal Saflieni Hypogeum. This is the first level, which, as you've already heard, is the oldest. We are currently seeing a trilithon, which was probably placed where we can see it today during the excavations of this temple in the 20th century. A lot of damage was done to this level from the construction of the houses which were being built above the temple at the time. Interestingly, the temple faces west. This was a wise decision, since the temple could benefit from long hours of sunlight, especially during the summertime, when the days are longer than in winter, and the sun takes far longer to set. It is likely that originally the main entrance of the Hypogeum was situated on the right-hand side, somewhere in this area. Many large stones were found, and it is believed that a stone circle surrounded the main entrance, which led to the Hypogeum. This temple's discovery was purely coincidental. It was in the year 1902, when builders were digging a well for a house, which was being built just above the site, coming face to face with these catacombs. Instead of reporting the discovery to the authorities, they kept working. They also threw stones and chippings in the temple, causing damage to the top level. The authorities were only informed about this discovery when construction was finished. Excavations began a year later, that is, in 1903. The work was entrusted to Father Manuel Magri. When Magri was sent to Tunisia, the work was continued by Sir Thames Amit. The word Hypogeum means underground chambers. In fact, this is what this temple consists of. It seems that, like us, our ancestors also felt that their loved ones required a suitable place for their eternal rest after they died. We can thus say that the Hypogeum is a prehistoric cemetery which takes us back around 6,000 years. It seems that the burial phenomenon is not a modern practice but goes back many years. In fact, as we descend the passage which takes us from the first level to the second level, we come across on our right-hand side what at first glance looks like soil. However, this isn't simply soil, since it has the remains of human bones as well. It is believed that around 7,000 people were buried in the Hypogeum. An interesting fact is that during the excavations they found an entire skeleton, which we however cannot see because the area where it was discovered isn't accessible to us, since we aren't allowed to enter that chamber. The skeleton is in the first level, in a deeper chamber on the left-hand side of the trilithon we visited earlier. From the results obtained during the excavations, it seems that the burial rite was performed on soil, which was brought inside for this purpose and spread on the floors of the chambers. So it seems that soil was used during the burial. It is also believed that votive offerings were made during the burial ritual, from small objects like stone or bone ornaments to more refined objects such as statuettes, among which one finds the statuette of the sleeping lady. We can thus say that the dead were given the last farewell in a special way and in a special place. The hole we are currently seeing was used for human remains. It is situated on our left, in the passage which takes us to the second level. As we turn to our right and descend a few steps, we find a very beautiful trilithon which marks the second level, or the middle level. Since the upper level was completely filled and had no space left for more burial, they felt the need to cut more stone and dig deeper in the ground for more burials. It is believed that the tools used were made of flint, bones, and upper coralline limestone, enabling our ancestors to carve these marvelous chambers that we are exploring during our visit today. This is the main chamber on the left side of the passage, as it is seen as we reach the middle level. It is believed that this chamber was used for both burials and meditation, as well as for other rituals. There are several interpretations about the possible use of the niches in this chamber. Some believe that they could have been used for statuettes, while others think that the dead bodies could have been placed there before the burial. We can never know for sure. We can only speculate. The ceiling is rounded like an arch and has a stepped curve. From this chamber, we can also see the trilithon of the Holy of Holies, the most important chamber in the Hypogeum. As we keep descending the passage, we find right in front of us the oracle chamber. It is believed that this chamber was used by the high priest to interpret dreams. A curious aspect about the niche on the right-hand side is that when a person speaks through the hole, the voice echoes throughout the temple. It seems that the high priest used this niche very often. In fact, the dark marks on its edges demonstrate that it was highly used. The ceiling of this chamber has red markings made with red ochre. It has a spiral design that incorporates many circles, which are nowadays very faint and are not clearly visible. However, we can still admire the beauty in their execution. As we exit the oracle chamber, we come across a huge slab on our left side. Nobody knows whether it was found in its current location, or whether it was placed there during excavations by both Father Manuel Magri and later Sir Temi Zamit. On the right is a decorated chamber, which also has a beautiful decoration on the ceiling, similar to that found in the oracle chamber. Unfortunately, the decoration in this chamber has suffered the same fate and has also faded considerably. Looking towards our left, we see several steps which had originally led to the lowest level, which is the third level. It seems that these were covered up with huge stones when a new entrance was built. Near these steps is the opening of a pit where they found the famous statuette of the sleeping lady. Looking right upwards, we see a hole which shows that the chambers were all connected. A few steps ahead to our right, we reach the most important chamber in the Hypogeum. This is the Sancta Sanctorum, or as it is known in English, the Holy of Holies. There are still traces of red ochre on its walls, which again are not clearly visible to us. The color red is often believed to represent blood, sacrifice, and death. It is believed that this chamber was used for burial, as well as for worship and rituals. The right wall has a semicircular shape which rises to the ceiling, forming a dome. The lower part of the walls feels rather harsh, whereas the upper part is much smoother. This was perhaps deliberate to have a smooth surface on the upper level for decorations. In fact, at least 3 designs were found on the ceiling and walls of the Holy of Holies. There are spirals and line markings. A tree design spreads across the ceiling, merging with the spirals and lines on the walls. This tree design is known as the Tree of Life. The two steps we see on our left lead to the main chamber, which we visited a while ago. In the middle of the Holy of Holies is the trilithon that we could see from the main chamber earlier. Looking towards our left, we find the 7 steps which lead to the lowest level, the 3rd level. Unfortunately, we cannot descend any further and explore the lowest level because it seems rather unsafe. So our tour in the Hypogeum ends here. However, from our position, we can still admire these 7 steps and how the rock was hewn to form the lowest level. There is also a very beautiful trilithon on the right side of the 7 steps, exactly underneath the Holy of Holies, that marks the entrance to the 3rd level. Unfortunately, we cannot see it. The last step of the 7 steps has a huge upright slab underneath it to keep it safe in place. The deepest area of the Hypogeum could have been used for storage or to bury important individuals. This area is 33 feet deep or 10.6 meters. We are now ascending towards the 2nd level and have reached the trilithon which welcomes us to this middle level. The design of this level incorporates a more elaborate chamber and passage system than the 1st level. Looking around us, we can observe the sheer size and beauty of this complex, which has gone through severe problems over the years. We are now taking another look at the main chamber while we examine the possible issues which this site faced. When the site was first opened to the public, the lighting system was completely different from that which we can see today, leading to the deterioration of the rock. The current lights have been meticulously planned and installed, thus ensuring to preserve this amazing site, not merely for us, but also for future generations. Other serious damage done to the site was from the seepage of water and sewage from the surrounding villages, and some walls began to deteriorate. We cannot forget the further damage caused, most especially to the 1st level, during the construction of the house in 1902, when the builders disposed of many stones in the site, leading luckily to the discovery of this underground complex. The Hypogeum is nowadays monitored very closely. Each visitor's tour is controlled and doesn't exceed 10 persons. This helps to conserve as much as possible this majestic site. Our last visit is in the water reservoir. Yes, you've heard correctly. We are currently in the water reservoir that is 8 meters deep. It is situated under the houses which were built over the Hypogeum. This was the place where many stones had been disposed of, leading to the site's discovery back in 1902. This water reservoir has a bell shape, and its walls also have red ochre designs which are not visible now. It is situated in the first level. However, we accessed it through the second level. Can you imagine this site, carved on 3 levels, reaching a depth of 33 feet, hewn simply from tools made of flint, bones, and upper coralline limestone? And this was done between 5,000 and 6,000 years ago, when our ancestors did not even dream of the technology we have today. This burial complex and sanctuary is so important to us today that it's one of the sites included in UNESCO's World Heritage List. Little did they realize and appreciate its importance at the beginning of the 20th century. Today, the Hypogeum offers several interpretations about the beliefs and rituals of Malta's prehistoric culture. We cannot end our tour without paying a visit to the famous Sleeping Lady. What we see here is a copy. The original statuette is found in the Museum of Archaeology in Valletta. There are also other statuettes, vases, ornaments, and containers. This is a clay statuette, and it's only 12 centimeters long. However, despite its small size, it has many minute details. Some believe that this figure represents the link between life and death, while others claim that it represents fertility. Its legs still show traces of red ochre, the same found in other areas of the Hypogeum. On the right are some of the objects which were found in the site. Here are 2 limestone sling stones which demonstrate clearly that people during those times were hunters. This is evidence that one of these people's activities was hunting. Above is a clay container. And here is a tool made of upper coralline limestone, which, together with other similar tools, is believed to have been used to hew the rock to form this complex. the left are several pendants of various shapes and colors. The holes in each pendant are clearly visible, making it possible to wear them as necklaces. Here is another clay container. Our visit to the Ħal Saflieni Hypogeum has helped us to answer the questions that we asked at the beginning of our investigation. We have learned that our ancestors, much like us today, used to honor their dead. Besides, like us, they did their best to provide their loved ones with a place of eternal rest. Whatever their belief system, like us, they believed in the existence of something greater than them which they worshipped. Despite being separated from these people by millennia, the rituals, ideas, cults, and beliefs, despite different, act as a bridge which connects us directly to them. We can thus conclude that when we compare what we do today with what our forefathers used to do, there is great similarity. We further come to a highly significant realization that, although technology was primitive, the human brain was always advanced, and throughout the ages, humans made use of what was available to them to make marvelous creations. The Ħal Saflieni Hypogeum is a living and clear testimony of all this. Thanks to this site and other sites around the Maltese islands, our ancestors have come back to life and have become immortal.